Thank you po. So first and foremost, everybody, salamat po very much for letting me come and talk to you and get to know each other better. What's most important for me is really to make sure that we have a strong community. And I believe that yung po ay nagsasimula with children and how we always make sure that our kids are the center of what we do in our community. We're very lucky in our town that we now have 5 very good schools. And so maintaining that and further making sure that we remain competitive, especially in this Bay Area where things are very competitive, that we are able to actually do that. Ang gagawin ko po, I'm going to quickly do a PowerPoint presentation so that you can see some of the things na medyo focus po ang conversation natin. And then really what we're going to do is let's just ask questions. I'd really like to know kung ano po ang iniisip ninyo and what are you guys worried about so that I can really make sure that I'm advocating and representing our community. So what I'm going to do right now is take over the sharing of the screen. And then I wanted to show you this quick PowerPoint slide that I put together. So if you guys can please, somebody give me a thumbs up that says you can actually see this. Just go like this, so I know. Okay, salamat po. So quick pictures. So this is like a gathering at my house with my husband, my 2 boys, my mom and dad, and my big brother. Ito pong nakabarong Tagalog ay anak ko. This was a year ago sa Hercules High School. Meron po silang cultural presentation and he presented some Filipino artifacts and of course the barong. My sons to the bottom, I think what you're looking at is if you're looking at the bottom left-hand side is what it is on my screen, are my 2 boys with my mom and dad. Yung po'y birthday ng nanay ko. And then my son when he was graduating right here at El Cerrito High School. And then me. Nilagay ko po yung picture ko kasi po yung postcard na i-distribute right now, iba ang buhok ko. And everybody keeps saying na, bakit mo nilagay ang picture na yan? Dapat na lang yung mahaba ang buhok mo. Because the other one, para kang mama, is what they're saying. So we will for sure change the picture because we've heard it way too many times na, sino ba yan? Hindi naman kamukha mo. That's what they're telling me. So this is a little bit about my family and the things that we're involved in here in our community. So sino po ba ako? Who's Estela? So my name is Estela de Paz. I grew up in Rodeo and I'm sure that a lot of you guys know na yung pong family namin nag-move to the Rodeo area in 1981. And because my parents like pretty much staying in the same place, we stayed here in the area. And we've been here for, I guess, more than 40 years at this point. Nung lumipat kami dito, there's not a whole lot of Filipinos. I attended John Swett High School. Siguro po John Swett, I was maybe one of maybe 15 kids who are Asians, because most of the folks in the area are either Italians or African American or Hispanics. And then, a small contingency of Filipinos and Asians. That's when, in the early 80s, mid 80s. So I went to San Francisco State University. I majored in business. And then after I got married and my boys were born, so 1-year-old po yung baby namin, we moved back to Hercules, and that was in 2003. Some things about me. So I was with Charles Schwab for a very long time. I was very lucky na before I even graduated from San Francisco State, Charles Schwab hired me because I was an honors intern and I just stayed with them and I grew my career with them. So I spent about 25 years of my career with them. At that point, I was doing leadership roles, senior manager roles, sa marketing po, product development, quality assurance and testing, at saka project management. So really my passion is project management kasi po yun yatang brain ko, it works in a very process-minded way where step by step systems. So ang background ko po ay project management. And if you're familiar with Project Management Institute, meron po silang special certification na tawag ay PMP or Project Management Professional. And I've had that designation since 2007. Lumipas po ako, I separated from Schwab nung pong 2016, parang 2017, kasi po they wanted to leave California. Like a lot of companies that, you know, are wanting to leave the California because California is becoming way too expensive. So at that point, they offered that I could go to Austin or Raleigh or Denver or Arizona to with my team. But because my family's here, especially po ang asawa ko, he teaches and he's tenured, it really was not an option for me to go. It's better for me to stay. And because also my family, of course, is here, my mom and dad, and my brother Gandhi, who's actually in San Jose. So I focused on getting my master's degree, and I got a master's in project management from the University of Wisconsin. Pero because I've always been in love and have a really strong affinity for education, I did my research by combining information around project management and special education. And special ed has a very special place in my heart because my son, when he was very young, was diagnosed with basically a developmental disorder, which we now know as autism. So that's a little bit about my background. So I wanted to make sure na yung pong priorities at saka things that I'm worried about is really something that we can all speak to kapag po merong nagtatanong na ano bang ginagawa ni Estela. So there's really four na I'm very, very passionate about. Una po lahat ay yung budget. Ang district po ay the district is in a deficit. So the budget right now last year a $39 million po silang in the hole. This coming 2 years they're going to be $62 million in the hole. That's a lot of impact and a lot of organizational issues that we really need to address to make sure that when we invest in things that are happening at school, that we have both the accountability and the transparency to make sure that our investment dollars are really going against the educational outcomes that's required by the state to be educating our young ones. The other thing po, especially because of what's happening right now with distance learning, we know na ito pong specific age group, mga millennials, marami po silang issues around mental health. The CDC has actually outlined that as somewhat of a concern, pero especially po because of distance learning at saka you're just with your computer, yung pong social emotional health at mental health ng mga bata ay very, very important. And meron po akong mga project with the Rotary around making sure na yung mga bata natin, they stay engaged. The third thing po na talagang priority ay paano po ba gagawin ng mga teacher na lahat ng mga computer-assisted system natin para distance learning ay ginagawa natin in the most efficient way possible. Para po yung mga cost advantages associated with technologies, we can really look at that. And because of my background as a product developer, product manager at Schwab, I'm very comfortable with that space. And then the fourth thing po, we have a lot of things in front of us that are going to be challenging. So the fourth bullet item na talaga pong ina-advocate ko is around community. Dapat po tayo mag-uusap-usap. Dapat po tayo magda-dialogue. Dapat po tayo mag-share ng information para po alam natin lahat kung ano nangyayari because ang future po natin, marami tayong may tatanong. Kapag po hindi tayo nag-uusap-usap, ay marami po tayong areas of not knowing, and it would be harder for us to actually come up with a way to actually get ourselves and move ourselves forward so that we can be together and united as a community. Yun po ang mga priorities ko. The next slide. So I'm going to go quick because I feel like I'm the only one I want to really hear from you guys. So ang role ko po sa community, meron po akong 10 plus years na nagvo-volunteer sa mga iba't ibang school sa district natin. Sa Wilson, sa Portolas, El Cerrito, sa Hercules Middle School, sa Hercules High School. Meron po silang tawag ay School Site Council. Ang School Site Council po ang responsible working with the principal to make sure na yung mga federal dollars na ibinibigay sa school ay actually being used in a way na inire-report namin sa isang document tawag ay School Plan for Student Achievement. And then meron po akong dalawang district level advisory groups that I've been involved in. One is this group for special education called the Community Advisory Committee. At saka the second one po ay yung kay Governor Brown na tawag ay Local Control Funding Formula para po sa how money is being distributed to a group of students in a way na meron po silang the marginalized groups ay maraming attention. Yung pong tawag nila non-categorical group, which means pagka po foster youth ka or kapag ka EL or English language learner ka, meron kang special funding para po susuportahan. And then, these last two things po ay Rotary board po ako. At saka yung pong ating Philippine Independence na nangyayari sa June, yung po ay lagi po akong member ng committee para i-put that together. And I've been doing that for the last 5 years. So I think I've seen a lot of you guys when we do that June activity. And I'm sure that, you know, many of in the community, I hope you guys saw na this year. Pero po, kasi po sa COVID, ang ginawa po namin ay yung inilagay po namin sa YouTube at nag-Zoom po kami. So yun po ang ginawa namin noong June 20. Mga ito po mga ginagawa ko right now. Yung pong Hercules High School drive-thru, yung pong graduation. Nasa TV po yun, KTVU. At kung kailangan po ninyo ng video clip, I can send it out to you. Last year po, ay nag-consultant po ako at saka teacher sa Hercules High School. Tapos po, yung meron po tayong Maker Fair. Ako po ang nagsimula noon, mga 4 years ago. At saka ito pong other things na ginagawa ko sa Rotary. And meron po kami dalawang very popular projects this last summer and going into the fall. Yung una po ay kung po ninyong kailala po yung mga Rotarians, meron na po kaming bagong website na ginawa ng mga bata. Tinutulungan ko po silang magawa ng website. At saka second po na program namin ay tawag ay How to Zoom, Zoomers Showing Boomers. Ito po in-launch namin last week para po partnership between the Rotary and the schools. At ang gusto po ng mga taga-Rotary dyan ay yung buong Rotary District ay magiging involved sa malaking project na yan. Pero ang idea po ng Zoomers at Boomers ay yung pong mga tao na hindi masyadong comfortable sa technology ay tutulungan po ng mga Zoomers, yung po mga teenager natin, para po matuto ka na maging comfortable ka sa Zoom. And you know, ang gusto po namin, ang phase 1 po namin ay kukuha po kami ng mga bata at yung mga either lolo or lola or tiyo or tiya nila na hindi comfortable, yung po ang sisimula namin para po yung mga bata when they're working with the adults, hindi po sila masyadong intimidated and they're going to be successful. And then if they feel good about it, we'll actually move forward to other adults in the community. Yun po ang thinking behind dyan. Ito po, so because ang mangyayari po ay malaki po ang laban. So right now, my opponent is, she has the backing of the teachers union. And so it's a pretty big lift for us to actually be able to compete. So ang nilagay ko po dito ay different opportunities to really engage and help. Meron po tayong mga volunteering activity here. And I think that some of you guys have been talking to my mom or other members of the community, of the team, of the campaign team, on how we would volunteer around writing postcards. You know, meron po tayong forwarding of emails, meron po tayong phone banking, texting, at saka of course that traditional canvassing. Pero ang canvassing po natin dito medyo iba. Yun lang po bibigyan na lang po natin sila ng postcards. Wala pong knocking on the door. So para po yung safety is still very, very important. And then of course other ways that you can help and make sure that the campaign becomes successful is kung pwede po lang ninyong i-distribute yung mga flyers and brochures with your friends and family. Pwede rin pong, you know, if you want to become part of the team, kailangan po kami yung mga volunteers. If you want to provide for financial support, meron po kami mga envelopes at saka meron pong yung website namin, meron pong donation button so you can donate online through ActBlue para pong yung donation, same donation system that the Democratic Party uses. And then, of course, the lawn signs, like everybody was asking earlier. And then, if you know, also just being able to like or share the posts that we have on a couple of Facebook pages, really. And so some things, so Facebook po, pag po hinanap niyo yung Estela for Education, that's the Facebook group. I post on that. And then, of course, Estela de Paz, I post on that too. So you can see some of those things. So please like and comment on the post. Also, you can email me at esteladepazforeducation@gmail.com. That's what I have. Maraming salamat po. So I think that now, if you guys have any questions or anything that you guys have in mind, I'd really like to hear, you know, some ideas, maybe worries, maybe things that you guys have questions about as far as school is concerned.